Hey everyone, it's Mike here from The Art of Guitar. Just a quick observational video. I know a while ago Tim Henson kind of upset a lot of older guitar players when he coined the term boomer bends on Rick Beato's channel. But what's funny is it didn't come off as a negative thing to me. You know, a lot of people thought it was like the young punk generation making fun of the older guys or whatever. But I thought about it, I'm like, you know what? If boomer bends are just expressive ways to play the guitar, then I think that's a great thing to expose to the world. Plus, it was a good PR move for Tim Henson because it got a lot of guitar players to notice him. But what it did was it made me ponder a little bit because I'm not a boomer, but I grew up really close to the boomers, and I'm so heavily influenced by so many of them because I grew up listening to their music and trying to play their songs, that it really made me wonder, are there other techniques that the boomer generation really gravitated towards? And I was thinking about it today. I'm like, you know what? If there was one scale form that 90% of classic rock songs seem to have, I'm just kind of making up that stat just out of thin air, but it would be this one. Now, a lot of you probably already know what scale I just played, but what I want to do is I want to walk through it and show you why this particular form of this scale got so popular, in my opinion. Now, it's amazing to me how many thousands and thousands of solos and licks came out of that shape. Here are some you may have heard. Something like that. Sort of like a Skinnerd move or a Kirk Hammett move right there. Some double stops there. A lot of blues players like to do that. I'm just kidding, it's not really played there, but I thought I had to get some kind of Steely Dan reference into a video like this. I'm sure you hear a lot of Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, all the Jimmys. It's kind of funny that it's so widely used that no matter what you play within this forum, you stumble onto something that sounds familiar. That's one of the things I love about it. Now, speaking of the benefits of playing this scale form, the first obvious one is, to me at least, that you could use two fingers and play the entire thing. So it's very convenient feeling. Plus, because of that, you could keep your thumb over the top of the neck, which a lot of classic rockers like to do. So if you ever look closely at guys like Clapton or like Jimmy Page or Jimi Hendrix, like I just talked about, you'll notice that they keep their thumb over the top quite a bit. That helps facilitate bends, and you could also do some string muting with it as well. Not to mention Hendrix would use it within the chords themselves. So it's a rhythmic device as well as a lead device. So with the thumb over the top, you could play most of this scale very comfortably, especially when you get to the middle to the higher end. Watch, I'll do the two-finger version now. Kind of like a Django Reinhardt move, except he would use these two fingers. Another benefit is you get that extra blues note in there, since it's technically called a blues scale. So that's the answer to the technical question. I'm playing the A blues scale when I do this. So that's actually my root note right there. But watch as I climb up, I get an extra note. I get this E flat in there, the flatted fifth. So now, just so you know, I'm electing to use other fingers, although you can play it with the two fingers like we just talked about. But you hear that E flat? It makes all the difference when you want to add that extra flair to this scale. There it is again. It's at the very top too. A lot of people forget about this one up here. If you learn it and master it, you could play, I would say, 90% of the classic rock solos out there. Try it and see, you'll just be playing the scale and all of a sudden you'll be like, oh, that sounds like a Zeppelin lick. Oh, that sounded like a Kiss lick. You know, so they just kind of have all these licks hiding within this form because it's been used so much. You almost can't help it. You just start to play the scale, watch. No, it's not that easy, but hopefully you get my point. This scale form lends itself to very playable and musical shapes. So one in particular is what is called the Albert King box, and that's when you get to the very top. so much music you can make up in just this one little area. So you play that enough and you're gonna find yourself playing a lot of Stevie Ray Vaughan type licks, a lot of Jimi Hendrix, a lot of Jimmy Page, and Clapton, and on and on and on. Now, speaking earlier of boomer bends, this scale works hand in hand, it's kind of obvious, with boomer bends. It makes it very bend friendly. If you took a scale, for example, that's not in this form, and you just took like a 3-note per string scale, sometimes it's hard to know where to bend the notes within. You have 3 notes per string and you kind of have to guess sometimes, and it seems a little confusing, at first at least. But right away, if you play the boomer scale, you're going to find yourself finding so many great places to bend, and it almost makes it obvious. You can always abandon this form because really this is a culmination of 3 different pentatonic shapes. So here's what I mean. The lowest part of this form can actually be played in one area if you want to. If you could do that, why am I sliding up into the next form? Here's why. Because if you look, you start here, it feels great because it's a nice little square shape. But all of a sudden now I have to reach back and spread my fingers out to play the rest of them. It doesn't feel really good when you're improvising and you just want to just flow to all of a sudden have to change your hand position and open up like that. So it feels better to just slide into the next form because it allows you to stay with this square shape idea. Here too. But you do have the option to abandon this entire form and just play an entire version of whatever form you happen to be on. A good one to really go after is the middle one, because that's the most common pentatonic shape, blues shape. So let's say I'm here now. I could just finish. And I could do all of my licks that I'm used to doing in minor pentatonic right there. It's very double stop friendly. So when you're playing, there's a lot of places where you could double up notes. That's why it's very good for Hendrix type stuff. Also some Angus Young stuff like you heard earlier. Little Neil Schon there as well. Now, one of the best reasons, in my opinion, this will be the final reason, is that it shrinks the guitar neck a little bit. When you're playing guitar and maybe you just want to improvise and not think about moving around the neck so much, it really keeps you in one area of the guitar and you could sound great just living in that one space for the entire solo if you want to. It's wide enough to give you a lot of options sonically, but it's also small enough to make you feel comfortable closing your eyes and just letting loose. So I'd have to say it's one of the most eye-closing, friendly forms of all time. And that's why you see a lot of guys like John Mayer, you know, whenever they solo, they could close their eyes and they could just flow over this shape. So my best advice would be to learn this scale inside and out, practice to a bunch of backing tracks, and then the next time you get together with your friends and jam, you're gonna turn some heads with your licks. So in the comments section, let me know if the boomer scale form is something that you already love to use, and maybe what your favorite solos or licks are that utilize this scale. Okay everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you at the next video. Bye-bye.